What's up, the squad? Back with another video. As y'all see in the title, what's going out. Make sure y'all hit the like button, hit that subscribe button for me, please. Y'all see in the title. Let me I want to start off by saying this. Everything I'm gonna say is, I find it completely crazy. To start this video, I'm not planning to start this video. So, but if y'all want to, y'all can definitely go check this out on the view, which I'm sure many of y'all don't. I've heard a lot of people say that the only time that y'all do see the view is if I'm, making a video about it. But you literally have here Whoopi Goldberg spoke out and basically said that they were waiting on Jimmy Kimmel to say something or do this or do that. Let me tell y'all something. Whoopi Goldberg in The View, Sonny Hostin, every last one of them, they were silent, completely silent about the whole everything when it came down to the Jimmy Kimmel, Charlie Kirk situation from all this time. Now what I find completely odd is that now that they're letting Jimmy Kimmel, I think he's back on air, Wednesday, Thursday, or something like that. He's back on air now, and they're letting back. Now they want to speak out on something. I find it completely crazy how they didn't speak on it before. They didn't say anything before. That's what I have a problem with, when it comes to these ladies, and doing what they're doing. They're here on The View, obviously today, talking about and making up every excuse in the book. They never take accountability for their actions, and what they say. And I find it completely crazy. One thing about it, they want to yell free speech, this freedom of speech and this, that, and the other. That's one thing. But then when you get on air, you get in front of, audience, whether if it's The View, whether if it's Jimmy Kimmel, if it's, you on the news and you're bashing a father, a husband, I find it completely insane. I truly find it completely insane that you can literally bash somebody and talk crazy about somebody, and and then in the same breath, you sit there and say, oh, I'm sending my love, I'm sending my condolences to it. You can't do that. I find it completely crazy that these ladies are doing that. Check out what they say right here, y'all.
Not up to him. I don't understand how you are the man in charge of the nation and you still don't understand how the First Amendment works. Do you want to remind him? Because
I would
you're
like
the
to.
Lawyer. Please
Yes, I would
do.
like to. Thank you, Whoopi. Freedom of speech undergirds our democracy. And our founders were very, very clear on that. Our founders drafted the First Amendment specifically to protect the rights of citizens to criticize the government. Thomas Jefferson, in particular, said the citizens must be able to criticize public officials because, quote, they will try to impose their own opinions and modes of thinking on others, end quote. And the Supreme Court, time and time again, has reinforced its support for the law of the land, the First Amendment, freedom of speech and freedom of the press. In 1929, I remember being in law school, not in 1929.
I was like, oh my God, Sherry, you look amazing.
Thank you. I remember being in law school in 1991, and my constitutional law professor said that in 1929, Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes, one of the greats, said that we must protect the freedom to express the thought we hate.
Yes.
Think about that. We must protect the freedom to express the thought we hate.
Yes.
And so Justice Sotomayor said last week that every time I listen to a lawyer-trained representative saying we should criminalize free speech in some way, I think to myself, that law school failed. Well, my law school, Notre Dame, didn't fail. I know very well what the freedom of speech means. I know all of you know very much what the freedom of speech means. And the President of the United States should know what the freedom of speech means.
Yes.
Well, listen.
Okay, let me tell y'all something. When it all comes down to it, I feel like everybody obviously knows what what freedom of speech is, what it means, and but I also feel that you do have to take some type of accountability for your actions. They always want to talk, Trump supporters don't never take accountability. Trump don't take accountability for what he does, what he says, this, that, and the other. But I don't see anybody taking accountability here. I don't ever see it, coming from the left at all. And that's what makes me so mad about about everything that comes out of Sonny Hostin's mouth. Anna's, I'm sure she's the one that's about to speak next. And my thing is she's sitting here saying, people need to know what freedom of speech is. People need to know how You just being a great person, just being a great, human being. I feel like that's one thing about it. You literally, they get on these, you get this, they incite violence. They sit here and bash like it. You literally, now they speaking on Jimmy Kimmel, literally getting on there. Y'all know people, I know people hate to hear this, but it's people that watch The View. It's people that obviously is watching Jimmy Kimmel. It's people that's on ABC, that watches, things that's on ABC. And they see people constantly bashing Trump. You got people bashing Charlie Kirk in his name. Not only doing that, they're doing that on a day of his funeral. You got people, and that's crazy to me. That's crazy. They're sitting here and making up every excuse in a book and not taking accountability for their actions, for Jimmy Kimmel's actions. And that bothers me.
For me, I want to start by thanking our loyal viewers for demanding truth and courage from us. We deserve it. You deserve it, and we will give it to you. And here's the part
you have for 30, almost 30.
The part that I don't understand that is so ironic to me is how the horrible, senseless assassination of Charlie Kirk, a man I disagreed with, but who stood for debate, who stood for freedom of speech, is being used to silence people and cancel people. I don't understand.
But I feel like that's something that you really can't that you can't really say. And this is what gets me. Don't sit there and speak of Charlie Kirk's name when you literally have him in the same sentence of all. You're trying to silence people and cancel people. It's not even that. It's one thing of having freedom of speech of saying that you don't agree with somebody and saying that, this, that, and other. But you literally got people that's literally Jimmy Kimmel. People that are obviously, you have famous individuals, people that's well known. I'm talking about well known. Even the ladies on The View, saying repeatedly bashing Charlie Kirk's name, saying this about you. You literally have all these things, listed that they're doing, and I don't see how they keep on having that. It's different. Charlie Kirk didn't go to these college campuses and bash somebody or talk down on somebody's, even people that have, disrespected him on TikToks and, these different clips, that you see, man, listen, I don't like how they're sitting there and trying to compare this. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. You can't sit there and compare, Charlie Kirk, he had freedom of speech and he went to these debates. Charlie Kirk didn't go there. He laid down facts. He had these debates, with different individuals, teaching individuals things, and that's what obviously they don't get. And they know they're just, they want to get on here, and spread lies, to the viewers. Then you have them trying to compare people that's literally bashing his name, people that's saying bad things about him. Hurtful things. I'm talking about bad things. Y'all have seen plenty videos on X. It's Jimmy Kimmel want to make jokes. You have all these individuals doing all. Man, I don't get that, and I definitely don't agree with what these ladies are saying right now.
And how in this country, where the First Amendment made to the Constitution was to guarantee freedom of the press and freedom of speech, the government itself is using its weight and power to bully and scare people into silence. Look, I have to tell you this. I lived through a right-wing dictatorship in Nicaragua, Somoza. I lived through a left-wing dictatorship in Nicaragua under Ortega. This is what dictators and authoritarians do. It does not matter the ideology. At first, they come for the people with big platforms. Mm-hmm. At first, they silence the press, but then they come for all of us because their intent is to scare us into silence and self-censorship. And look at the things that this government has done. They kicked the AP out of the Oval Office for not saying Gulf of America. They cut the funding of NPR and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. They are demanding reporters sign a pledge that reporters will only report on what the Pentagon wants them to report on. That is not how the First Amendment works. And I will say to you all, to all of us, look, We have seen tech titans go into the Oval Office. We are seeing media moguls, publishers of newspapers. We are seeing all of them try to make the peace with Donald Trump. A bully always comes back for more. So to make the peace with Donald Trump.
Ain't no those reporters and stuff like, bro, y'all have seen. I literally just watched a clip today of people trying to get up under Caroline Leavitt's skin. Literally trying to make her mad and trying to get a reaction out of her. These reporters try to do these things nonstop. So them getting on here and spreading lies talking about they're trying to make peace with Donald Trump and they're trying to do this and trying to do this. They're lying, bro, and I'm tired of it. They get on these things and they lie. And this is why I do this all the time, and I put these videos out of The View. This is the exact reason why I'm here. Because I feel like it is important to call out all the BS that's put out on this mainstream media. I'm telling y'all.
Bully always comes back for more. So they need to stand up, and we need to demand the same from ourselves.
And from each other.
I actually wasn't surprised that Ted Cruz and Rand Paul took the position they did, because this has been a long-standing, not just American position, but conservative position, that the First Amendment and the right to free speech is fundamental in this country. And that means speech you find offensive, it means political satire, it means comedy, it means holding those in power accountable. And I think a lot of people, when they think of conservatives, they think you wake up, you kiss a picture of Donald Trump, and you want tax cuts for the wealthy. What made me a conservative was the idea that in all the systems of government that have existed in human history, as imperfect as ours is, the Constitution gets it pretty damn right.
Sure
The First Amendment is the first for a reason, because you need to be able to hold those in power accountable. And what Ted Cruz later says in an interview that I think is an incredibly important point, the pendulum swings in this country.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is not going to be in power for 100 years. It may feel that way to a lot of people right now. There will be a time that the left is back in power. And I think the same conservatives who are backing this.
I'm going to tell y'all right now. She spoke on 100 years. Probably in 100 years. Me personally right now, for the next 25 to 50 years even, I don't see the left. I just don't see it. I feel like so many people have been, leaving the Democratic Party. I've seen, I want to say, and I wasn't looking, it wasn't like I wasn't looking for it, the links, today to see this, but I've seen multiple videos of people in the Democratic Party, not only people in the Democratic Party, I know I don't make it about race, but black people in the Democratic Party that is literally leaving the Democratic Party, especially after, the sad tragedy of Charlie Kirk. So seeing that and I feel like, and honestly, I say this to say that it's not even because of, I'm not even going to say it's because of what happened to Charlie Kirk. I feel like it's what happened after what happened, what happened to Charlie Kirk. I feel like it's more so of how the left took things. When you had 58 Democrats, that didn't want to honor that doesn't want to honor Charlie Kirk. You have so many Democrats, so many people on the left that are going, on the news and bashing his name, talking down on his name. So when you're having so many people that's doing that and they're seeing it constantly, I'm going to tell y'all, they're seeing how the left isn't doing anything in order to keep, the community safe. They're not doing anything to help the communities. They're not doing anything to help them and their families. So when they see that they're not doing much when it comes to, these communities and different things, when they see, and they're constantly seeing that, they're seeing that there's more things being done for illegal aliens, and they're seeing that when, people are starting to notice. So when Alyssa says that, Donald Trump, he's not going to be president for the next 100 years, and there's going to be somebody in the left that's going to be in power, I don't see that. I don't see that. I especially, I know y'all don't see that at all, because I feel like there's so many things, when I first started, I grew up, obviously in a Democratic, a Democrat household, and I started to get in these videos. Big shout out to Half and J. Half and J, I haven't talked to him in a while out there in California, but they're like, man, you need to check out these videos. I didn't know anything about it. Excuse me. But as I started to notice and started to see everything when it came to being, what a conservative is, everything, everything fell in line for me. When I say everything fell in line for me, and I seen that the left wasn't for me. The left wasn't for me. And I feel like so many people, once they actually see that and stop being in this victim mode, this pacified mode, and this is all I know. I want to follow my friends and my family, and I'll just look at Kohler and I look at this. Once they leave all that behind and actually realize what's in front of them and what's helping them and what's not, then you start to see that. I mean, we obviously starting to see, different days of people leaving the Democratic Party. I see it every day. I truly see it. Every time I get on X, I see another person that's making a video talking about why they're leaving the Democratic Party. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Definitely appreciate y'all. Much love, everybody. Let me know y'all comments and thoughts on this video. Catch y'all on the next one.